Congratulations, you are at the right place. If you're a person that wants to stay tuned with what's going on with the black community, if you want to stay tuned with what's going on just in the progressive community, if you want to get solutions on how you can be able to, build your family, build your money, or even, get back with your baby mama, this is the place where you want to do it at, right here. And yes, we are here, and I want to first shout out some people, and let's first shout out the people who are in the building. If we're live, before we even start introducing all our panel, I just, for the people that's listening, we just want to make sure that y'all can hear us good, that y'all can see us good. So if we got any listeners, just start chiming in on the page. Start hitting one in the comment section. Hit one in the comment section if you can hear us. If you cannot hear us, hit 0. Let's see a 0 if you cannot hear us. And just so everybody know, we also are going live on the Fresh Air Network Facebook page. Yes. So that's where everyone can go. If you're probably seeing us on our Facebook page right now, but everyone, if you got any comments, you can go to the Fresh Air Network Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe because we are there every single week at 6 o'clock. We ready. And your mama is here sometime too. So if you ain't seen her in a while, you can be able to talk to her. With that being said, let's introduce some of our panel. So you know who I am, Dr. Jackson, all about making things happen. And to the right of me, we got a special guest. So let's introduce our special guest who specialized. He came all the way here from the low end of Chicago, South Side. You can tell.
Long way. Yes, definitely. Well, my name is Seth Gilmore, and I'm a professional in life and health insurance, and I'm just here just to kind of promote just certain things that we can do to prevent maybe just some simple things about getting life insurance and burial insurance. So definitely I want you guys to just chime in, ask any questions that you may have, and hopefully I'll be able to answer everything you might have. All right.
This is JC, Justice. Peace to everyone out there. Ask any questions you want to in the comment section. Share it on your pages. We got brother Kavan right here to my right.
What's going on, peoples?
What's going on, people? So what up?
Kavan in the building.
Kavan in the building. Make sure you all like that page.
Make sure y'all like that page, and we want to make sure that everybody can hear us really well. Again, so if you're listening, make sure you chime in. You tap that 1 if you can hear us. 0 if you're having any issues at all. And we are definitely here for your questions. So we're about to get in. So y'all know how the agenda works. If you don't know, this is how it works. So first, we're going to get directly into some of the current events. There's a lot of trending topics that's going on. We're about to touch on some of the trending topics first. Once we touch those trending topics, what we're going to do then is we're going to actually share a couple, just like a quick 1-minute tip with y'all about talking about insurance, and then the power on how you can be able to use insurance. And then from there, we're going to get into the meat and potato. We're going to get directly to the topic. Our main topic today is proper preparation prevents poor performance. And we talking about on every level. It don't matter. Every level, any way you want to do it. When it comes to money, family, anything, relationships, we're going to touch on all of those things. Mm-hmm. And so you don't want to miss that. We got something really, and we got a special surprise I want to talk to y'all about at the end. So before we get into that, let's get into the trending topics. Let's talk about some of the things that are going on social media and in the world right now. So first, one of the first things I want to definitely touch on is Fidel Castro just recently passed in Cuba, and it has caused a mixed response across America. Especially, there's a lot of Cubans that have been celebrating the death of Fidel Castro, and you got some people like Colin Kaepernick who've actually have been defending Fidel. So let's talk about that a little bit. Specifically, I want to hear Justice touch on that, especially.
You want to hear me talk on Castro?
yeah, on not just Castro.
That was
but
strategic, man. That was very strategic.
Well, based on what I've heard, and read and some of the research I've done, there's a lot of people that say that Castro was an ally to the African American community or just Africans across the diaspora, in general, from him supporting certain activists that's here in the States and also sending troops to certain African countries when they were at war or to help free their country from certain I guess, colonization or certain things that they had to fight against from other outside powers. So, you know, I've seen pictures with him and Malcolm X and him and Muhammad Ali. So, you know, and that was a regime, I guess, that was against Castro. A lot of people, Batista supporters, that was the regime before, so a lot of them fled Cuba when Castro became in power. But, you know, so if you're seeing Cubans and they're celebrating and they're happy, they probably were supporters of the Batista regime, you know, which had a lot of racial undertones to it, that regime. So, you know, there's a lot of mixed emotions. A lot of the darker skinned Cubans, you know, were in support of Castro, even though there was some controversy around him. But then, you know, when Hurricane Katrina hit, you know, and, you know, I guess certain factions of our government weren't probably providing the medical aid or the resources that they could. And Castro said, "Hey, I'll send my doctors there."
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Actually,
you know, so,
September 3rd, 2005.
Right. What about you, Jackson or Seth?
Yeah. Well, really quick before we throw it to Seth, I wanted to kind of piggyback on what he was just saying, because I'm looking at even here, September 3rd, 2005. He was supposed to send about 100. He offered to send over 100 different doctors from Cuba to get help, but he was denied. And the reason why I bring that up specifically is because I didn't know that Fidel created an opportunity for anyone that's black in America to be able to go and learn medicine in Cuba, and they can be able to do it for free. And the only thing you got to do in return is just serve your people.
Yeah,
So
I think it was for X amount of years or something like that. Or come back.
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about is, as it relates to that, is the fact that we have to find out who's narrating some of these stories when it comes to talking about, let's say, Fidel Castro. That means our media hasn't necessarily been forthcoming with us when it comes to certain things. So what makes you think they're going to do that when it comes to somebody else that we don't talk to, hear about, don't know the intricacies of their culture and all that good stuff? So I guess what I'm saying is that we sometimes have to check out the narrator, whoever's narrating the story. And anytime you go against the Western civilization way of thinking and or politics, then you're going to get the black eye, especially when it comes to the thought process of the people that's in the United States. So I say all that to say that we definitely can't condemn what he's done because we wasn't there. Second thing is that you know that it's going to be indifferent. Well, people, the natives of Cuba may or may not know the intricacies of the politics.
Right.
Okay, all they know is they see what other people have and what they do not have, but they also don't see the fact that they're more independent as far as what they can learn, going to school to learn those things. That was the number one thing that I loved about Cuba, is that they had a couple of friends actually that went over there to learn. It was in medicine, of course, but the point is that's when I learned. It was several years ago that they did this. So if we don't even have free school over here. So on that note, we sometimes take other people's say as what's going on, and we may or may not know. Now, also when you're talking about the riches and the jewels and all that stuff that particular content has, and if we can't get at it as a nation, then we sometimes have our little issues with them. So keep all that stuff in mind. But for the most part, it's funny how stuff doesn't come out until somebody passes,
Right?
And now they want to make it public for the everyday person to learn about. So I have mixed emotions about it, but rest in peace. And those who don't like them, it's you get to change it now if you want.
Well, the embargo has been lifted, so I know this brother.
Explain embargo to people so they have an idea.
I guess that's when there's like certain trade sanctions and blockages on trade in and out of the country. That's in a nutshell. So, and that's been going on for since the Kennedy era,
right?
Right. So. So
he done stepped on some hands,
right?
Some feet for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. But I know someone is going to make a documentary on that too, and they said they wanted to kind of get down there before it turned into Mech Cuba.
Yeah.
McDonald's and everything else down there. So
it's funny you
Right.
it's funny you said that because I got approached with a group of actually quote unquote famous people that wanted me to go down there with them to
Right.
do some kind of filming for them, and it was a business, and I was amazed because when somebody tell you like, hey man, I want you to come down to Cuba and do this. You're like, Cuba? Yeah, that's not that's not where you hear people going to as far as doing business and or vacationing. So I found it interesting that even before he passed, people are now gearing up in the United States to go down there and do business, which could be good and could be indifferent too, because every time we make someplace a tourism spot, it has the ability to change more so to our level of what we think. And the people that's in there.
to the Western
Yes.
world's level, right?
And that's
Well-
not necessarily the best.
Well, just
interest.
to add on, I think that he put his brother in power not too long ago. So I guess some of those stipulations with some of the things that will go down there and maybe bring a lot of toxins, like maybe things that just necessarily wasn't culture-based or indigenous to that culture, I think he will rebut that. I think he won't let it go that far because that regime has been in power for a few decades now. So just my thought process on it.
Yeah. So, well, I think it is. I think it's very important that we definitely study our history from both sides, not just what the media. Because sometimes you want to learn about your country, you can look at what they're saying about you in other countries. Reading media from outside of your country, you can find out a lot. So, the other thing in the news I want to touch on. Now, we had a broad audience, so we got intellectuals that listen. We also have younger people that listen too. So with the news, I try to make sure that we report stuff that's also not so serious and touch some of the stuff that they're interested in, especially with the entertainment. So I want to talk about something that just recently happened, which was on social media. So I want to talk about two rappers really quick. One of them is a rapper named 21 Savage, who recently they's going viral. There's this video where he was supposed to be punched out in the club.
Good.
Okay. What'd you say? Good. 21. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Oliver Williams too.
Otto. Yeah, that's the guy right there.
Yeah.
Now.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I don't wish bad on any of these young brothers.
He was talking kind of greasy about some of the older cats. Was that the other ones that was on?
Well,
Sway show.
I don't know about him, but I know it is some other ones that you got like the young Lil Yachty's and stuff like that.
The mumble rappers.
The mumble
rappers
rappers need to be
generation,
punched
yeah.
out.
Now
Get it together. Get your lyrics together. Pizza, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, and all them Common who came out with some classic albums.
Comeback.
And a lot of the younger cats who still keeping a tradition. And so it's not really an age thing. It's a tradition thing. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 20 or whatever. Just as long as you keep it in the tradition of hip hop. Like if you got a Bentley, you can't just change the Bentley up and throw a Honda hood on it and a Toyota steering wheel and say, hey, that's still a Bentley. No, that's something else.
Well, we can.
But anyway, go ahead,
Yeah.
Jackson.
Well, I don't wish no harm or hurt on any of these brothers that they want to make their money, and is that sometimes I don't necessarily agree with some of the things they do, but I definitely don't want to see any of them get hurt, man, because it's just not a good look for the whole industry. You know what I mean? Just to even be affiliated with it. But I will say one of the reasons why I brought that up is because I looked at the video and it wasn't even him that was punched out, and it was interesting to see that how so many people just believe in a lie. It's so many people that if they hate you, they want to believe that you were punched out.
Exactly.
But it really wasn't him. He even did a response video saying that wasn't me. But it was interesting to see how many people were so excited when they heard he got punched out. And so
Well, I think it may be a blessing in disguise.
and so
And-
Doesn't really matter to me. either way.
So what I'm saying is this: is sometimes when you're an artist, or it don't even matter because everybody is on the stage right now with social media. Is that when you put out positive energy, a lot of times you're gonna have people gonna hate on you regardless, but many times they're gonna hate less when you put out positivity. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people come at him and they were happy to see him get hurt because there's this sort of this negative image around it and this stigma of him supposed to be a goon. His name is Savage in his name, and then people clown these mumble rappers. So I think it is important with how you brand yourself and knowing, hey, people, and if you're a person that's out there, people gonna hate on you. So don't be upset when people hate. Just take it with it comes with the territory. But what were you saying?
I'm gonna take the other side of the coin, which is accountability, man. I think some of the young rappers don't think that the older rappers really care about what they do anymore. So it's kind of like free range, and I think that's where the spirit of it came from. Is that the old school folks ain't gonna do nothing, but now they're stepping up. Now they're saying things. Now they're basically in this particular case, it was perpetuated by some action. So when people think that nobody's watching them or there's no stipulation for their actions, then they're going to kind of run wild. I'm not condoning any violence, but accountability is important. And like you say, when you're a kid and your mama is watching you, then you do less things, or you think about what you're doing before you're doing it. And there's no like I said, there's no accountability or issues with getting out of pocket that that somebody's going to come and read your rights on. So I think that's a good part of it, man.
There's a few younger cats I like too, like Vince Staples. He's from L.A., the West Coast. G. Herbal, he's from here, Chicago.
Yeah, both of them are dope.
Dave East.
Mick Jenkins.
East Coast.
I mean,
Dr. Jackson.
Up and coming rapper right here, Dr. Jackson.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a up-and-coming rapper, but
so
he is dope.
I wonder who the audience,
my cousin.
There's some dope cats out there we need to be listening to, because we got a few years on us than the average cat, a younger cat, but well, at least these guys.
Oh man, I can tell you some dope rappers. Coke Cohiba. Shout out to my boy Coke Cohiba.
Kurt.
You know what I mean? And my boy Chris Gills. They both from Chicago doing some really awesome things. He's going to be performing at the Cubby actually in like December 17th. So he performs with a live band. He's all about all about empowerment. He's a teacher and he has a band with doctors and all good stuff in it. So man, that's family. So shout out to Kurt Cohiba.
And chime in a little bit about that 21 Savage. Actually, out of all of the mumble rapper generation, I think I like him the most. A little bit. Actually, that album that he had was actually kind of all right. But the thing is, I would kind of blame it on just being able to have that money and coming into a different limelight and wasn't ready for that. So accountability, then also masturation. It's one of those things that you grow day in and day out. And he probably made a bad mistake. I think he knows that a little bit more now. But hopefully we get some more rappers that just come out here and play some real good music and just kind of come from a social culture issue right now, and not trying to give all that murder, violent stuff that we really don't need in the community anyway.
Or at least mix it in there. It can be entertaining in some songs. It can be rah-rah in other songs, but at least mix it up where every song isn't sounding like the previous song, or the beat isn't almost exactly the same. So, more creativity, more variety.
Okay.
So in other news outside of speaking of entertainment, we talk about technology. So Samsung is about to release the next Samsung 8. All right, the Samsung Galaxy 8. And so this is like supposed to be a really, really big deal. I mean, y'all know what happens when these iPhones drop, how crazy people go. They're supposed to be like revolutionizing something with the front face of the camera. And when I was reading it, it was so powerful. It was like supposed to be taking selfies to the next level. And the reason why for me, the reason why I think this is so important, the age that we're in and where it's continuing to go, it's to a point where, I mean, the media is constantly there. Like, we are all on stage, unless you just completely unplug yourself. Even then, you're still, if you're off the grid, you can still somewhat be found. But there's a lot of opportunity for people to create businesses in this sector, right? So when you see that the technology is easier for people, you can make your own documentaries. There's no excuses for people right now. This is one of the best times when we could be alive. If you're an entrepreneur, and like Justice, if you're a creative person, man.
Or if you just have a story.
If you got a story
that needs to be told.
You can. I mean, the technology is making it easy for people to be able to record, shoot high quality HD.
Well, let me speak on that if I could. And the only reason why I'm speaking on this because, of course, I've just recently gone through the technology stages of learning about podcasting, video, streaming, all that kind of stuff. And I found it interesting that I couldn't find nothing that was concrete to create something of this magnitude. And even if it was on a simple basis, just like, get this, get that, get this, and then you're ready. So the first thing I think about is the fact that we don't think that we have enough juice to tell our own story. We think that we're not important enough to tell our own story. I think that is the real challenge, because we're out of practice when it comes to media, when it comes to sharing information, when it comes to just making a way where there's no way, and then even the marketing aspect. So I'm saying all that to say that technology is good, but if you don't have the dream, the aspiration, the wherewithal, the fact that I had to, of course, do my due diligence to create this, and then the technology is out there, but you do have to go seek it. So for those who are feeling like you can't tell your story, it's a great time in technology to be able to learn this concept, and it's never going away. That's what I really, 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 really want to make sure that people understand, is that you being able to tell your story is never going to go away. Never. And your kids, when they get older, and your family members, whomever you love, concepts when it comes to business, these are things that have not been readily available to share with other people, because we don't think that it's good enough to put on video.
It's like a video journal or log.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just keep that in mind. And that's the reason why I created this network, is because I wanted regular people, or extraordinary people like ourselves, to be able to tell our story. And when we tell our story, then people have the ability to get information and hopefully be able to tell their story based off of seeing.
Let's shout out some of our sponsors. In fact, we want to shout out to Fresh Air Network. Also shout out to Luxury Auto Motors.
Chicago Luxury Motors.
Chicago Luxury Motors. Yeah. Shout out to them over there with Dre now. If you're looking to get a nice luxury vehicle or co-sign your vehicle, that's a great place to do it. Also, shout out to internationalpowerbrokers.com.
Culture Connection 360. Check them out.com.
Definitely shout out. So we're gonna mention some of our other sponsors in a second, but to concluding with the news, did you want to say anything about the Samsung 18 before we go to the next one?
No, we can keep it moving.
I said Samsung 18.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's coming soon.
Yeah,
as quick as technology goes.
Right.
So speaking of technology, Sony, they just put a new copyright in. They just registered it for the recordable contact lens. Okay. And as soon as they put it in, now you got a lot of other companies, they're trying to copyright their versions of their recordable contacts.
That sounds like a liability.
Contact lens. Wow.
That sounds like a lot of problems.
Well, pose. I mean, when I hear stuff like that, what comes to mind is this race that most people are not in, and the race is, how do we get and collect more information?
Interesting.
That's because if you're recording something, it's recording for a reason. And the reason is, most of the time, if it's in your eye, then 9 times out of 10, nobody knows that's going to be going down.
Exactly.
So this like big brother syndrome that we have going on, that they know people really want to put themselves out there, but they also know that the stuff that they putting out there ain't worth shit.
And if they come out with this technology, a lot of offices, I guess, their contacts will be falling out of. Recordable contact lens.
So how do you think, how do you think that's going to go in the long term? You think that's kind of be more beneficial, or a better platform for people to maybe, make some social issues a lot better, can catch cops, or, doing some stuff, I don't know. I just don't see the future of it, more or less, to being nosy, Right. That's at least my mindset.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think it presents an opportunity for some huge changes in industry. I think it's going to be very interesting, specifically if you're a tech person and you're looking to start your own tech-based business. And I speak on this because that's what I do. I have my own app, hairtakeover.com. And when you look at these tech sites, these apps that people are creating, when I hear of people having contacts, I start thinking about the celebrities that put them in. And now people want to be able to tap into that life of that celebrity on a whole nother level, right? Like Beyonce, right when she's on stage performing, they want to see what Beyonce's seeing, right? And I just look at the opportunities on what these social media platforms play, because wherever the attention is at on a social media platform, that's where the marketers need to be, even if you don't have a tech business, right?
I think when I first heard it, I think about technology helping the fellow man.
This is the first time you're hearing about this? The
Yeah,
reportable contact lens?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and what that means is that, of course, I told you I've been in insurance forever. I know the liabilities that comes with that whole game of healthcare. So I was thinking, like, what if you can, the surgeries or the people who's actually doctors who can put it in, and now people can see procedurally what they're doing as they're doing it. So the liability's sake is, I'm going a little bit too deep with this, but the point being is that two sides of it. Liability wise, if somebody's monitoring what you're doing while you're doing it, then you can say that, hey, I did it in this right procedures. So other people can back you up too, because if somebody can see what's going on as it's going on, other doctors or whatever, they can say, oh yes, he did do it correctly.
They wouldn't have cameras for that, like micro cameras that you can attach to.
They should have it. It's not hard to do, but I'm thinking about the well-being of having that technology as opposed to
technology, from the technology angle, if they talking about it, the technology is probably already there.
10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
So, there's people walking around with that already. If not here, probably somewhere over in Asia.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
we're behind.
Marketplace wise, I would want to know who the industry leaders would be with something like that.
I also want to know
a lot of capital involved with their investing in something like that.
and who's collecting that data.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding,
That's
ding.
where that's going to be at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other also in the news, OPEC. Now this is for the tycoons that are out there, or specifically the people that really want to get your money up. It's OPEC. Just made a big decision. They're going to stop producing about 5% of the oil that they've been producing. For those who don't know, OPEC produces a large amount of oil.
Why are they stopping
globally?
Producing 5% of it.
You know what? I was looking at the article. I really didn't get the exact reason on the rationale on how they were rationalizing it. But what I did look at, because I study gold and silver and commodities, and usually a lot of times when you get oil cuts, foreign gas goes up a lot of times.
Bread goes up.
Bread goes up. Then you also have sometimes gold and silver goes up. But actually, I was looking at some researchers, a trusted source, IlluminatiSilver.com. They're really thorough. They had a really interesting article on how it's actually making silver go down. It's driving the prices of silver down. So, which is a great thing for people if you do not have silver. Start investing, get you some ounces of silver. Right now, an ounce of silver is about $16 for an ounce. And I'm not going to go real deep into why you should, do it, because that'll take more time. But just know it's just like a savings account when you get gold and silver. It's a currency. Silver and gold is currency.
Have more tools in your tool belt than just the dollar. The fiat dollar.
It's hard assets. The people
basically get you some real money.
And when you said fiat dollar, I'm sorry, Jackson, but it's kind of funny. Everything's going to be changing in a little while, but China, we owe them a lot of money. Not only we're just in deficit, but we don't have anything that the dollar is backed on. Before it used to be the real estate market, it used to be Fort Knox. Now it's kind of like, yeah, we generate all this capital, but what is the real wealth of America?
Yeah, well, gold used to be the first thing. Well, actually, way before that, Knights and Templar and all that kind of stuff that comes with credit and all that good stuff. The point being is that if nothing is backed by it, then there's no repercussions on if it leaves or how much it is, and who can tell or dictate how much something is. So that's a challenge. And as you know, the dollar has been all of them: euros, yen. I went to Costa Rica a couple of times. Their money is less than ours, but even we want to have a better idea of how to use our resources to make things happen for us, other than just the dollar, or even real estate, because it's some things on the real estate game that I've learned that that wasn't in our best interest as well.
Peace to Markel, Miko, Brother Brian, Janae, everyone out there who checking us out.
Appreciate it.
What's going on, Jackson? Jackson always got some action going on.
So speaking of you giving peace to the ancestors and the people recently transcend, I wanted to give out. I want to start implementing our one health tip of the week before we get into our actual segment. And the health tip I want to give is I'm going to give two of them really quick. And these are very weird tips. All right, don't expect for me to just give you basic stuff that you already know. I'm going to give you some stuff that's really weird that you probably ain't going to want to do. But trust me, if you try it, it'll make a difference.
Good setup, man.
All right, so they're like, what is this stupid to say, right? Yeah, okay. So first thing I'm going to say is experiment with sleeping on the floor. Try sleeping on the floor. And the reason I even discovered this, it has so many benefits just for your spine, for your posture, and then even for your mind, for you to be able to stay ready in life, right? So most of us, today's show about preparation. Most black folks especially, we want to get prepared once the boat starts sinking. That's not preparation. Preparation is before you even get into the boat, you're preparing yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is you want to stay ready instead of having to get ready. And part of the reason why I decided to sleep on the floor was, one, my back was hurting. And I just wanted to lay down and, get my back feel better. But then I'm going through this transition in life where I'm like, I want to become more disciplined. So I'm like, let me master my body and do things that's making me uncomfortable.
Sleeping on the floor.
Like sleeping on the floor. And I did some research on it. And they said it's a really great thing. And so I've been doing it for the last 3-4 days. First few days, it might hurt. It's like exercise. When you go to the gym, first few days, you're going to feel sore afterwards, but then your body becomes stronger. So you might feel a little sore the first few days, but what happens is afterwards, you're going to start noticing your posture's better. And mentally, you feel like you got an edge.
So on your back or your stomach or your side, what's the best way to sleep?
Ideally, you want to lay flat on your back. Okay. On your back. However, you want to use like a yoga mat or something. You don't want to lay on cement. It's going to hurt you. All right. I know there's some thoughts out there that say, oh, my God, I can lay on cement. I'm good. I'm not talking about y'all. You want to lay on a yoga mat. Right. And when you lay on that yoga mat, what you do is you maybe get you a towel or something, you fold it, and that way you can rest your neck on it. Maybe put one underneath your leg, maybe another one underneath your lower back, because the idea is for your spine to be in a straight line. That's what you want.
And it helps self-align yourself.
It helps with your self-alignment, exactly. And what happens is I have a very comfortable bed. My bed is too comfortable, in fact, and that was causing my back pain because my spine was so out of alignment because it was shifting to this unnatural surface of this bed that had my spine going in all different directions. It was comfortable, but then it became a pain, which is like most things in life. So that's my help tip, is to start sleeping on the floor just a little bit at a time. You don't got to sleep every day of your life. I'm saying, but just do it, for about a week and see if you feel a difference, because you want to start letting certain things go in life too. Meaning the people to me that have the most wealth are the people that can just get up and go. They're not attached to these things, right? You want to go to different countries and travel around, and sometimes you may not have the pleasure of sleeping in the most comfortable place, So you want to get yourself used to being adapt to whatever situation you're in, because the people that adapt can survive.
Now, you said it was 2, so I know you got that one. Did you have another one?
Outside of sleeping on the floor, what was the other one? What was
Drink water.
Taking cold showers. Take cold showers. Now, I know this sounds weird.
It's controversial now. You can shock yourself, have a heart attack. That's a disclaimer. Go ahead.
I heard
do not try that at home.
Yeah. Now, first of all,
sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
Ice cold shower.
He's a nomad.
All my hustlers.
Right.
They sound real homeless.
The homeless tips.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of there's some of the freest people in the world is that homeless drunk on the corner now. Come on now.
True.
He ain't got no worries, Yeah. But no, I was gonna say take cold showers, right? Take cold showers. And again, and I'm saying it, do your own research too. But cold showers, what makes them, for me, I learned, my personal experience was, one, it started help with my immune system. My immune system felt stronger. I felt more alert. is one, and not just after the shower. I'm talking about the entire day. You kind of feel more of an alertness. If you're a man, your testosterone. What are you finna say, Jay?
So Jackson has no heat, no bed.
Right.
And he's sleeping on the floor.
Health
Right.
tip number 3.
But he does
Put
have
your
a yoga
food out
mat.
on the window ledge in the wintertime.
You got a yoga mat though.
Hey, actually, I've been doing that too. When my food is hot, I'll put it outside, let it cool off. But seriously, it's like I'm telling you, taking that cold shower. For me, it also helped with the skin. A lot of people don't know that hot water will dry your skin out, and there's so many people with eczema and with these dry, flaky skin, and a lot of times it's from that water and that hard ass hot water that's drying you out.
Hey, you didn't mention another health tip. Drink water. We talking about water.
For sure.
A lot of African Americans, a lot of people in general, don't drink enough water. So that can be one of the top health tips. That's probably why your back was hurting. You got to drink more water.
Sure.
Well, I've been drinking a gallon. I've been doing a gallon.
Spine and muscles and all that.
Well, I know when my back was hurting though. It was really hurting. One, for the bed, and two, I've been doing 100 pull-ups a day for the past 13 days, and I wasn't properly stretching, and that's where it came from. I wasn't stretching. I wasn't giving my body enough opportunity to rest.
And I would say mine is maybe possibly do a little bit more time cooking your own self. I know, like, we always working day in and day out, got to go get the kids. A lot of single moms really don't have the time. So in general, a lot of the food that we get in the restaurants is just high in cholesterol. And especially when you're running around like that, working hard like that, your health actually takes a tank the harder you work sometimes, because you have to build that discipline in order to get that workout in. And sometimes with proper preparation with things, it could kind of prevent just maybe, just high blood pressure, just little silent killers that kill the black community and any community at all. So
shout out to the brother Jamie Bridges. He got the new. He's going to be with us soon. Got the Melanoid University tees.
Cool.
At the Culture Connection.
Definitely shout out to John Me. Shout out also to David Jones. We're going to have him on the show too. David Jones, international man. He's been almost every country across the world under the age of 30, and he do it. Trust me, his budget is not big.
DS,
so he can,
right? DS Jones.
Yeah.
Okay. He's an international playboy.
Definitely. He's
Traveler.
going to start making his own Dos Equis commercials
Right.
really soon.
David be inboxing me like, "Hey man, I'm in this cave over here and about to interview
Of
like,
the
"Damn,
Caucasoid.
Dave,
He's
are you
in
cool?"
the Caucasus Mountains.
Next week,
Over there
Dave
pulling
in the
them.
Himalayas.
Putting bras in the Caucasus Mountains.
Yeah, Dave get around.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So topic.
Okay, so all right, topic. Real quick before we get into the topic, let's take 60 seconds real quick, because I want Seth to mention, we talking about sponsors, just to mention really quick about the power of insurance.
okay. Well, you know what? I'm been in the insurance about like 9 years, and I've done it from a place where I talk to people about health insurance on a way where they can just get it from state, government, private. And also, too, I talk to people about life insurance. That's more recent within the 9 years, maybe about 4 or 5, I believe. And what I noticed is a real big disparity on people coming up with the capital needed in order for untimely death or even a timely death, something that you think. And it's more about budgeting, more or less. And personally, I think that we all, have tribulations. And, with the economy being where it is right now, I definitely understand that having a extra bill is what it seems like. But in general, I believe that if you actually put away maybe a few dollars and something that can necessarily help you to not just only bury a loved one timely or untimely, I think generally if you actually have a person that just pretty much goes to work, you got a lot of people that go to work, have good jobs, but they just don't allocate the money correctly, and just by chance something happens where now they need the money. I'm a strong advocate, and I think Kayvon would agree, is that in general, sometimes you have to just put yourself in a position where you pay that bill. So if anything does go wrong, you kind of almost get yourself a little bit where you were, if not ahead, because you made a smart decision at the time and something happened where pretty much you benefit from that. So generally, I think that life insurance is good for anybody at any age. And if you have any questions, concern, you can actually just inbox me. You can Google me at Healthcare Solutions with an S, Healthcare Solutions Team. And just put in Seth Gilmore, you'll get my direct website. And but general, I just want to have conversations with people. You'd be surprised how inexpensive something could be, such as just putting away a couple dollars in order to make sure that if someone passes away, you have the burial, you have everything that you need, and also be able to pay off a few bills as well. So
how does that play into generational wealth,
that's
especially
so
in
much.
the black community? I mean, that's a hot topic right there.
Well,
Man.
Illinois is the second highest place to bury somebody. It's second to California.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So Illinois, I think the average is 11,000 and some change, and in California it's like 13,000 and some change. I say all that.
What if we start buying our own vacant lots and we start, putting bodies in the lot? You know what I mean? Like we do like a body.
I think your marketing and the words that you're using probably have to change.
I'm saying we can do it. We can hook our marketing up. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, don't flow with me with the renter spoon idea I got. You know what I mean? There's a lot of spaces, for like $1. We can put them in there and then let them, after a year, we can let them digrade. And then we put, after they,
Just to add on to that.
Add another one in there. You know what I mean?
Just to add
Hey, I'm just flowing.
Yeah, just to add on what Jackson was saying, though, in general, too, a lot of people don't understand. They say, well, I don't need life insurance. What I'll do is I got a plot. I'll just put money down on the plot, and then when I die, I got everything done, right? Now, that's kind of almost a la carte. It's kind of like you go to McDonald's, and they got the dollar thing. You say, I got $4. Can stretch, instead of getting that like Happy Meal or something. Mm-hmm. But to put it in perspective, a lot of people don't understand the inflation, the cost of living things. So if you don't die for another 20 years and you pay that money, it still will be a balance at the end of that. What insurance does also is it has certain factors in there where inflation can kind of offset. So whenever that person died, that $10,000 that was $10,000 in 1999 is still relevant to, that in 2019 or whatever,
Right.
So I think in general, if you just kind of do a little more research, ask more questions, it's so many options too for insurance, because like somebody would say, well, insurance, I won't get the money until I die. But a lot of people don't understand. You just don't actually pass away. Sometimes you
have insurance for the living too.
Exactly.
Right.
You have.
You won't be going through hell trying to put you in the ground.
Living benefits. There's actually a policy out that a lot of people can get what's called a lump sum, where if you get diagnosed with maybe like cancer or have a heart attack, you can actually get a cash, typically tax-free policy that goes straight to you, and you can allocate those funds any way that you want to. And that's really cheap. They also have options where you can get a return of premium, where the money that you put in, a certain percentage of that comes back to you after the course of the actual insurance. Mm-hmm. So it's just options. Just always ask people that might know a little bit more about maybe insurance. Always just try to find something out. And also, too, don't listen to people. Actually go on Google or, just do your research.
Or call you.
Yeah. What were you going to say,
Call you. Right.
Well, definitely call me, Co. Definitely type in Seth Gilmore Healthcare Solutions Team on Google, and actually just bookmark that actual website. And if you have any questions, you definitely can reach out to me. My actual email address is sgilmore@myhst.com, and that's SGILMORE@myhst.com.
The point I was making, to your point, as far as the legacy building, I think one of the challenges that I've seen when it came to being in insurance and people taking on the task or even being open to receiving it is the legacy building. To me, is the educational component that if you see your parents do something or your loved ones do something, such as get a burial insurance or anything. So it's the know-how. It's the thought process on why they do what they do. Most times when people pass, it's kind of like a shock to everybody because somebody in their family didn't tell them, hey, here's how you go. Or here's my guy who gave me this. Or at the funeral, they said that this wouldn't, we've had a great event, or this was a lot smoother because we did have insurance and I got it X, Y years ago. And 9 times out of 10, kids are listening. Your loved ones are listening. So the philosophy behind legacy building is the point of being in a position that when things happen, it doesn't hurt other things that may be going on now or in the future. So the thought process of what and how insurance can help somebody is most of the time is going to be absorbed by you seeing somebody else that you love and trust do it too.
Yeah, just to add on to that too, legacy building. I know you asked me the question, and when I hear legacy building, I just think generations. Because if you even look at the simplest fact, like if you just have two generations, a mother and a grandmother, and they both were savvy enough to just always pay for life insurance, that next generation, whether the grandkid and then the great grandkid, will actually necessarily benefit. Because if you think like this, they would stewards were just paying their life insurance. Typically, you pay off and you become a homeowner or whatnot. You have that house that's in your name, and when you pass away, and typically,
or you got that check.
Exactly.
You know the old saying about we ask ourselves, why don't you know your grandparents or your great-great-grandfather or great-great-grandmother? And the term is that because they never left you anything.
Oh, wow.
The reason why people revere, you talk about other ethnicities when they have the person who's their grandfather on the wall, and, you know, it's generations, and he had his
museum named after him, a wing of a hospital or something.
Right, and the only reason why he or she is revered is because they left something for you where you can't denounce the fact that they did something in life.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the point, is that you get respect when you thought enough to do something that other people didn't know about or didn't expect. Now they're living off of it. Same thing with trust and wills and things of that nature. So legacy building is just about doing something, but at the same time, when you do it, you are teaching other people why you're doing it and how it would benefit them. So now it becomes second nature, and now you teach other people or your other loved ones the same concept.
It's part of the topic, the proper preparation piece we're about to get into.
Exactly. So yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to get into proper preparation right now, is because this is the end of the year. This is fourth quarter. Most people view this as the end of the year. My personal opinion, I think, if I have a business owner mindset, so for me, this is like the beginning of my year. For me, you know, my production year, and so when we're talking about preparation, for one, if you're listening, you should at this point start pulling out some type of pen or something to take some notes with. And also think about this from the perspective of what is your typical business year, right? Because a year is different for everybody in terms of their seasons and when they flourish and go up and down, you know. So, but with that being said, one challenge with most black people is we fail to prepare. Not all black folks, but there's many of us are not taught and disciplined enough to really prepare for important things in life. And we're talking about on all levels, but I mainly want to focus on preparing for the entrepreneurs, the people that got that business, you got that product, you got that idea that you know can help you make some type of money. So we want to talk to those people that want to use this information to make money. And then the second type of person is that person that wants to prepare, like just on a personal level, something to expand themselves. Like you want to prepare a trip, or you want to prepare some stuff for a relationship with somebody, you know, prepare yourself, right? So those are the main two people I really want to target with this conversation of giving tips to.
Yeah. And preparation to me is the value of doing research, the value of understanding that whatever it is your time and energy is worth, it's important to you. So when you are necessarily preparing for something, 9 times out of 10, you don't want to waste your time. Exactly. That's the point. So we want to make sure that this is all for you when you prepare. It helps you to build a better muscle. It helps you to exercise certain disciplines. Mm-hmm. And it also gives you unwavering faith, if you will. The unwavering faith is that you do something once, it's challenging. You do something twice, it's a little bit better, so on and so forth. The repetition is the best teacher scenario, or the fact that when you do something and you learn that you can do that, the next time a certain challenge comes up that looks similar to it, you can actually go at it in a different way based off of the wins that you had prior. So preparation is synonymous with experience. experience is synonymous with basically messing some shit up,
Well,
getting it right, talking to people.
And I want to rewind just a little bit because I think that's a great point when you talk about research. I think one of the challenges, though, is many people are unclear on where they want to go in the first place.
True.
And they're unclear on what that destination is. So it's kind of hard to prepare. And even what do I really research if I'm not sure with who I am, what my strengths are, you know what I mean? Where exactly do I want to go, you know? And so I want to touch on that a little bit and the power of knowing your own unique abilities first, meaning knowing what your strengths are. I think that's a great place for entrepreneurs especially. Because when you're preparing, that means you're adding members to your team that need to complement where you're weak at. That's part of your preparation because you may be a poor preparer. So you might need to have an accountability partner to help you with your preparation, to help you figure out, all right, what you're good at. So one first thing I would encourage people is to get some type of accountability partner that you know, if you want to go to the gym, you may not know if you want to, you know, what you need to do to lose the weight, but you know you got a friend that want to go to the gym too, and or they've been going to the gym and they got some success. So attach yourself along with those people. I think that would be one of the first steps to do. Yeah. Get some type of partner.
Yeah, when I hear proper preparation prevents poor performance, tongue twister, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a mindset more or less than anything. It's kind of like, you know, you already are looking at the end in the beginning, kind of like, you know, like superstar athlete. They already knew they won before it actually went. It's kind of like you have to walk backwards, kind of in a sense. So I think it's a lot. I think you learn that term the more you chime it, the more you really kind of prepare yourself for whatever it is that you want to do. I think the first part of it, even though it's one mindset, preparation, like you said, research, that might be the bulk of it. Like they have this thing, they say spend an hour sharpening that axe. And then after you sharpen that axe, it only take you 15 minutes to cut down that tree. So I think that's kind of more the perspective that Kayvon and I guess Jay was talking about.
So now that Trump is in office, I'm interested in how some
and way to switch it up, brother.
That's
you know, how you all out there going to prepare? Do we need to prepare? Is it going to be business as usual? I mean, do you think certain sectors or markets will take off and improve? Some people say when the Republicans in office, the real estate markets get better. Some people say, you know, various things. I know right before Trump got in, the stock market took a crash and then it shot back up,
rebounded,
you know, to a record height. But,
yeah.
You know,
Well,
what are some of your ways of preparing for the new year, Jackson?
Well, I'm going to get directly into the specifics. I want to mention one thing too, but I think I want to just reiterate the power of knowing what your unique ability is, because when so many people aren't self-aware of what their strengths and stuff are. And so what happens is they get pulled in so many different directions. Let's say you don't have much money, but you're trying to build a business. You got an idea you want to do, but now you got somebody else with an MLM company. And no, I love MLM companies, by the way. But if you got somebody that has one, and now they trying to pull you into selling their juice, and now you over there drinking the Kool-Aid.
juice.
And there's nothing wrong with that if that's your unique ability.
How many MLM companies have we been in together, Jackson?
Together, we've been in at least. I mean, I lost count after the first 3. Okay?
For sure.
I've been in a lot of them as well.
But that still must be commended for, though. I mean,
sold everything from Goji juice to gold.
Exactly.
But I think that's
Same
important though, because I did MLM, and that was probably one of my first encounters with sales, and the level of discipline that is required for that teaches you so much. Even if you're not successful in it, understanding how business and how direct sales go, because a lot of people say, I'm a business owner. And I like that. But generally speaking, if you can't sell, I don't care what kind of business you got up. You have to learn the art of sales.
There's a tremendous amount of benefits for being along with a MLM. However, one thing I found is that the most powerful force in the world is focus. When a person is focused on a particular idea and thing, they almost become unstoppable when they're not willing to accept nothing else. Like, I mean, there's actors and stuff that went to L.A. There's a lot of them that didn't went there and then came back home. But you got there's some of our greatest actors. They didn't went there on a dream. They had $2, hopped on a plane with no money, and they just had a in their mind saying, I'm only going to win by getting paid. Acting gigs, I'm not accepting nothing else. Somebody could offer me $10,000, working as a waiter, but I'm not going to take it because I'm so focused on being an actor. And I think when a person has a laser focus, and that comes with knowing your strength, I think, and everybody's not going to have that.
You be putting that F in that strength, though.
All right, knowing your strength, right?
Strength.
Yeah, it could be the bubble gum I'm chewing on, but yeah, I mean it goes back to what he was saying. It's a certain mindset of saying I'm going to win and I'm not going to take nothing else but victory. My standard is that high, and I think when it goes to preparation, that's a powerful thing that many times we overlook. It's the obstacle that people
focus
if they don't have focus.
Stay focused.
Well, I think one of the things that you mentioned in MLM is the fact that on a sales tip, we don't talk to anybody most of the time. We don't have anything that we feel that is good enough to say.
You mean as a community?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time, when you get into MLMs, generally it's something, you got the focus that he mentioned. You absolutely believe in it, and you believe in it so much to where you're going to start sharing with your friends and families and all that kind of stuff. What I'm getting at is that most time you don't have anything that's in front of you that is quote unquote comparable or we have to go with the MLM for the fact that they put everything in place.
Right, it's already prepackaged.
Right.
Exactly.
But it also gives you a subject matter to talk about to people that you ordinarily wouldn't talk about because y'all ain't talking about shit in the first place. Or y'all talking about the same things.
Well, it's great practice. I think it's a great development.
That's the point.
MLM is like exercising at the gym, right? It can build your confidence in your muscles, and you build some relationships.
And it helps with preparation. That's my point.
Definitely, I agree with that. So for some people, it depends. That's why I say self-awareness, because you got to know what level you're on, because at some point in your life, MLM might be what you need. And other people you may have elevated where you're on a whole nother level, where now you have to really begin to just focus in on what your specific goal is and just aligning yourself with that team. Like, for example, there's a lot of people in MLM I used to work with, they wouldn't even buy their own products to the company that they were selling. Okay, so
they didn't believe it.
So they didn't even believe it. You know what I mean? So it don't matter what business that you're in, if you're not
You
buying
want some of this juice? I'll take it.
if you don't even know how the product works, so you're not your own customer. So be your own customer in terms of preparing. You got to almost be sold out on the religion of you and the religion of believing in the game of developing yourself. That's probably the best thing I love about MLM.
I wanted to add on to what you said. You said we don't talk as a community.
Socializing, yeah.
That is so true. And the things that we talk about generally don't have no real merit to anything successful or anything that's constructive.
Or moving something forward.
Yeah, I agree. And what I learned in my career in MLM is the quintessential communication, the networking. See, sometimes you just need to know right people at right times. Like, you don't have to be the most gifted athlete. There's a lot of gifted athletes out here that just pretty much never made it out the hood because sometimes they just don't know. You have to put yourself in certain places. And I think the MLM opportunity for me personally put me in the position to always go somewhere, talk to somebody, understand what kind of ideas and what kind of background that they have. Because like the movie, like 6 Degrees of Separation, somebody knows somebody, and you never know what kind of opportunity can come from that. So that networking is a really good piece.
And to receive
MLM.
information. And to receive. Be open to receiving information.
Right. And to handle rejection.
Yep, true.
Yeah.
When you get knocked down, you got to get back up.
Yeah.
Keep going, right.
Yeah, so when it comes to just planning in general, there's several steps that you want to start taking with developing any master plan. So let's just talk about developing this upcoming year for folks. I really want to focus on that. So we got a brand new 12 months about to come in. I don't want to really date the show, but 2017 is about to come in. But these are things that's practical regardless of what the year that you're in. And one thing that I would say that really helped me is to have a time. You got to set aside a time where you really sit down, maybe with a partner, accountability partner, or somebody they can be doing something completely different from you, but y'all sit down together and actually buy a tangible planner. Like, that's what I like personally. An actual planner, meaning a sheet of paper that you can, that has the calendars on it. You can find them at the dollar store.
It's the psychological upliftment that comes with that, and in addition to writing things down, because once you buy it, you got to write something
So
down
you
too.
saying that's better than putting it in your phone?
Absolutely.
I think so. They say when you actually write something down, you retain more memory of what it was as time goes on. So if you just like put it in or like do voice out, what I do a lot is if I got a lot of information and I don't really feel like writing it or it's coming so fast, I'll just put my recorder on and then just doing it. But I know that sometimes I actually have to listen to it and then write it down. And once I write down verbatimly what I was doing, recorded, it kind of makes me kind of almost subconsciously know exactly where I was coming from, how to deliver it, everything. So.
And the physical thing of looking at something physically, when you put it in your phone, if you don't set a reminder, if you don't go to that note app to look at it, then 9 times out of 10, you may or may not remember it.
You might go on your phone to
Exactly.
get distracted. Next thing you know, you're on Facebook, Instagram, and forgot what you're on your phone for.
Well, I met this girl that I hadn't seen in a while, right? And I had my phone out. She was like, "Well, let's just put the numbers in the phone." I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna write it down."
Interesting.
And the reason, this is just my personal thing, is that when I write it down, I go home and as you know, you take all your money and stuff out your pockets, you put it on whatever table, and 9 times out of 10, tomorrow, the next day, you'll go and look at it because you got to pick up your wallet and do all kinds of stuff. So what happens is that it reminds you. You have a actual physical thing that reminds you. It might be a piece of paper that you tore off someplace, and then it actually gives you more of a scenery of what was transpiring when you got it.
So
Meaning, like I was
after y'all woke up, you saw the number.
Yeah, that might be it too.
On
Yeah, yeah, you can cross that one off your list.
Yeah, that was funny.
And sometimes it's like if you don't write it down, like I have a Toastmasters club, and every week, and especially when you're working with people, here's the thing: your plan is going to eventually have to incorporate other people. Other people going to come in. You got to be able to be really specific about exactly what you're doing, what you want, when you want it. And of course you can adapt. I'm not saying you have to be rigid. You can make changes, but you want to be specific. So when someone asks you what you're doing, when you're doing it, you don't want to be fumbling and like, or every time you say your mission statement, you coming up with something different and you unclear about it.
I got a piece to that too. One of the things that I took away from writing stuff down, because I have every year, the 16 years, and the only reason why I know this because when I moved, I had these 3 stacks of at a glance of each and every year, and it felt good to me
to look at your records. Yeah,
to look at your records.
Exactly.
That's one thing. Or like you were saying, when at the end of the week, and I go back on Sunday. Most of the time it's Sunday. Preparing for Monday, I always do this. I'll go back and I look at the past week, and what that does is it gives me kind of a jump start of what I didn't finish the last week, what needs to be and moved forward. Most of the time, even if I'm just meeting with somebody, if I did this podcast, I put this podcast in there, and then I put some notes or something like that.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the next time I look at it, actually triggers the thought process of, you know what, man, I met Seth on that day, and you know what, he asked me about certain things, and then most of the time I put it there. Also, for entrepreneurs, I know this is an issue for me sometimes, is your girlfriend or your guy, after the week is done and they ask you, well, how's your week? Or what did you get done? And most of the time I would get pissed off when people ask me that because I've done thousands of things.
Exactly.
Right.
So
yeah,
I
get
can't
pissed off when people ask me, like, what you doing today?
Right.
Like,
So I can't. Right. But
It's even hard to even answer that question.
it's very hard, and they don't understand it. But my point being is that
Interesting.
if you go back to it and be like, okay, baby, well, Friday I did XYZ, Tuesday I did this, and
Right.
and
You want to be specific with
right,
it. Yeah.
and what happens is that you just kind of stroke them a little bit just to give them something. But what I think the issue was for me is that if I didn't know exactly what I did, then I will get upset. That's one thing. Or if I didn't finish something that they asked me about, I will get upset. And what happens is that if I can tell them, or I can see physically on my planner that, you know what, I didn't do that, but you know why? Because on that day I did this, something came up, I did that, blah, 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 blah. So you subconsciously feel like you still did some shit.
Right.
Yeah, and you know what? Just to add on to what you said with the at a glance, it's so funny you said it. I did the same thing, and with doing that, my level of productivity was just through the roof because it's the mundane, like he said, discipline. When you have that discipline, and what was so odd with me is that I actually had the at a glance calendar that was actually what was that? I forgot the material, but I put it up on my wall. You know, when you like most of the teachers have, they just have it up, and so you know the chart. And I would do it by quarter.
A dry eraser board.
Like a dry eraser board, and it would not only I would do it every day. I would project what I wanted to do that day, right? Come back home and write down what I actually did. And then I would keep that record. And then, like, on a Sunday, I would look at everything that I said I was going to do that day and then increased it, right? And what that did for me was I was able to maneuver my month a lot better because I could count the days a lot better. Like, so let's say, like, last week, right, I expected I was going to do 5 or 7, right? But I really did 10, right? And then I'm like, well, you know what? I got 10 because I got lucky because I ended up just getting luck with that bigger number. So it made me, you know, look like I did it. Or I could have been like, well, I got 10. And for some reason, I worked a little harder that day. It was harder.
Efficient.
I was more efficient.
Right.
And with doing that, I think that I was able to also look forward to the next month. And if Christmas was coming, I could still hit my goal and still know that I had a certain amount of downtimes that month. So I could account the days a lot better. So when I wrote it on the wall and projected, I would always, every quarter, right before the next quarter started, I would write it down on the actual calendar. So now if I wanted to reference a couple years ago, like what was I doing like that first week or whatever to do that production, I would look at it and say, oh, that's what I was. So,
well, if for all of the younger people, you know, who are listening, let's say you're in your teens or early 20s, I want to encourage you. We always talk about the power of mentorship. You want to get around a leader, get around not people that are just busy, because you could be busy. There's a difference between being active and actually progressing and getting stuff accomplished. So, you know, hang around people that are actually getting things accomplished. Because one thing I learned is leaders, people that do the most, you could give them a lot and they knock it out. They can get more done than a person who has only a little bit to do. And a lot of it is because of writing it down. Like when I was at the International Academy of Design, one of my goals was I wanted to sign up and enroll like at least 3 people per day. So I would have to do interviews with people. I would interview potential students. Now, one of the problem was I might sign somebody up, you know, and they sign up with the program. But if I didn't know my next appointment and what time the next appointment was, now my time is just going because I'm spending too much time with that current person, because people going to steal your time, especially if they don't value their own time. So you want to like create your schedule and kind of walk around with it. So, you know, like even if you call somebody on the phone, you say, hey, Justice, man, look, I got 15 minutes really quick. I wanted to talk to you. I'm getting ready to run out. Can I talk to you for 5 minutes? You know, and that way you set expectations with people, because if not, you'll be on the phone with them.
Wasting your day away.
Right. I agree.
You know.
What's next?
All right. When it comes to that, we also want to talk about the importance of planning for the year, right? And I want to give y'all, you know what, this is what I want to say. This is how I want to break it down, because we're going to get ready to conclude the show. I want to break it down and say this. If you're a person that doesn't do a lot of planning, I would say set like one major goal that you want to get done for the year. Right, just start with one thing, because you want to build your muscles, your planning muscles. So just start with one thing, and then break that thing down into quarters. So what would be a good? Let's have an example, right? Let's say all us on the Connect 360, we gonna take a trip to Brazil next year this time, December. So that's the big goal. So we want to start looking at it per quarter, what little objectives we're going to complete each quarter. And then break that down to each month. What do we need to do per month? so that we can be able to prepare. And the closer we get to December, now the more we need to communicate. The communication has to be there. A big part of planning is communication.
I got it's Anthony Robbins, right? He had this. I bought some stuff from him years ago, right? And he gave me this concept that I use still today, and it's based off of what you just said. It was he used the acronym of RPM, and it stands for results, purpose, and then MAP, or massive action plan. And what he said, and what I do now is when you talk, you put a subject matter on a piece of paper, then you sort of kind of think backwards, which is what you were saying. The backwards part is that, what is the results that I want to get out of this? Now, he also said, don't make more than 3 of these results. No more than 3. And psychologically, as you know, that human beings can take 3 parts more so than any other number. That's why our name's in 3 parts. That's why our phone number's in 3 different. So we can stomach that. Yeah, really. So results. What is the results that you want? Okay. And the results is basically you thinking about the end game first. Then the purpose, like, why are you doing it? What is the purpose of this? And what happens is that by you putting the results, no more than 3 other results, no more than 3 other purpose, right? And then the MAP, which is massive action plan, is actually what it is. That's when you can go for broke. You can actually put, but it's going to be based off of what the results were. What's the purpose was. And then the massive action plan is going to be based off of, okay, now that I want them results, I know what my purpose is. And the reason why he said that was so important, and I know why it's so important, because that's what fuels you. That's what when everything is down in the dumps or whatever, you can look at their results, and the results are usually something that you really truly want. So that actually propels you to do some things that you normally wouldn't do, or keeps you on track. So please take that. It's called RPMs, and he equated to like your car and moving and getting traction and things of that nature. But once again, the purpose, the results first, the purpose, and then the massive action plan, which is quote unquote MAP. Yeah, the MAP at the end. Okay.
Yeah, and last thing I want to say about the topic is you got to create rituals. Create rituals where you can kind of be able to. Everything is done. Success is usually done in repetition. So when you're looking at your week, I would say allocate certain days for certain things and try to be consistent with that. This is what. Dan Sullivan talk about this. This is what a lot of the most highly productive people do. Is every day isn't exactly the same, and when you're an average person, they treat every day like it's the same, right? Okay, I'm just in and out of job, another day, another dollar. But people that are very successful, all of their days are a little bit different. It's they create a production day, meaning there's certain days that you're gonna have where you make more money. If you're a hairstylist, your days are Thursday through Saturday. Right, so you shouldn't be doing what you do on a Tuesday, what you do on a Saturday. You got to plan it different. So, create a day where you really focus on taking care of whatever your agenda, main fires are. If you got mail that you got to do, errands you got to run, try to create one day that's like your errand day or your preparation day. And then figure out what day is going to be your major production day. What day can you really produce a lot? And this goes back to what I was saying, is knowing your strengths. Because when you look at every day, when I look at my day, I just look at how much time have I been spending doing the things that I'm great at that produce money for me. So you have to write down on a sheet of paper, like what 3 or 2 things or one thing that when I do this, it brings me in money specifically. Not the things that put out the fires, but the things that bring me in money and that I do really well and I love. And how much time am I allocating to doing that thing? And you want to make sure that you're having that in on your schedule and you don't let nobody interrupt that time, because people are going to try to interrupt it if you don't have that pre-planned in your schedule.
I think a major point for me, and when it comes to mapping out my year, is the advantages and the create my environment. And create my environment means that accountability is always better when I have friends and of people that's in the same ball game, entrepreneurial wise. Let's just say this podcast, for instance, we have it every Wednesday. The accountability is that I don't want to let you guys down, right? And it should be the other way around. So that means that preparation sometimes is going to be put in place for me because I don't want to be the person who doesn't pull his weight. I say all that to say that we should be open to having environments where more people are like you for accountability's sake. So anytime you go into the new year and you feel like you're going into the new year by yourself, that sometimes is the challenge. So I say all that to say that be open to finding new people, different people, or people that are on the same wavelength, may not have the same business, but have the same thought process that you do. Because when you speak to him or her, accountability or the conversation is generally going to be in those lines. Like, hey, what's going on? What you got going on? Did you do that? Or also, they help you with moving things forward, because I heard my boy, I was just talking to my boy and he wanted XYZ, you know what, and now you show up. So now you feel like if you have agents out there for you, with you, to make sure that year is not just your efforts only, it's a collective effort. And the collective effort in any kind of, it's like when you get a client and somebody else gave it to you based off word of mouth, you feel like this is the easiest thing ever.
Yeah, you usually typically close them more than any other referral.
And the reason being is because you've had an ally with you. We want to be open to having allies when it comes to being, and when we create our preparation, the preparation should not just fall on our backs. It should be a collective preparation that we do for accountability, of course, but more so just so you don't feel like you're by yourself. Because when you don't do something and you feel like you're by yourself, you can be your worst enemy. So
Definitely.
be open to building alliances, having people with same goals, same aspirations, same thought process, same lifestyle. And that helps you with not having to do it by yourself, especially when your loved ones or the people that's around you are not on that same wavelength. You really feel like you're by yourself.
Wavy.
And with that said, we want you to take these plans that you have, and we want to know feedback. We want y'all to leave comments on the videos. We want to know what are some of the plans you're working on, and share that with the community, because there's other people. We want y'all to start calling in as well, so we could give y'all some ideas about your plans. So y'all can always call in at the number, or y'all can leave comments. It's next week. We're going to really be talking a little bit more. We're going to definitely focus more on the economic side and talk about wealth building. We're going to hone in on that a little bit more. So you don't want to miss that show, because we're going to go real detail.
Can you do this? Can we, as a whole, maybe one or two things that we are grateful for 2016?
Right now?
To put out there. And the reason being is because it gets your mindset into thinking about, like, how you didn't think that you was going to do good in 2016. Some things came about, but it actually, gratitude is everything, is my point. And it sets you up.
I would say that I actually just stole it from my head. Actually, gratitude. 2016 has been challenging for a lot of. I've just talked to a few people, and it seemed like the people that I've been talking to, that it was a character building year, and I would agree with that too. But I think that I'm grateful for just the gratitude of just having good people, and then family. Actually, you'd be surprised, man, when you got a nice support system. It gives you the mindset to actually fly a little higher, to be honest with you. So your support system is good, but I really appreciate my family, like my mom, my grandma, my father, everybody, like my son. It's everybody gives their own special energy to you, and you embrace that, and I'm just so grateful for it personally.
Yeah, gratitude, that's a good thing. I think as a community, sometimes we should focus on more of the things that we are grateful for instead of the things that we're complaining about, because you're going to attract, the more grateful you are and the things you're thankful for, you're going to attract more good things into your life. So, 2016, it's been an up and down year for me personally, more ups than downs, but
it's good.
So 2017, I'm sure we're going to, it's not going to be as bad as we all think it's going to be. We're survivors, black people in this country. So, we're going to, and sometimes trials and tribulations, it builds character. So, You know, I'm thankful for the experiences I've had that were good. You know, some that were not so good I've learned from. So I look at them as learning experiences. So, you know, thankful for, you know, meeting, you know, new people, you know, tighter network. So, you know, let's make 2017 a great year.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I'm thankful for living in America and living at a time to see where a person like Donald Trump could be in office. And I know it sounds really crazy, but the reason why I'm thankful for it is because usually when you start seeing degeneracy happen in anything, like what we're seeing in the White House, that's usually a sign where it's the end of something and a new beginning and a new cycle is about to come. And like Justice said, it's going to be a challenge, but sometimes we need these challenges to be able to push greatness out of us. So it's going to be scary for a lot of us. It's going to be really challenging, but this is the opportunity for us to shine. You got to remember, we in America, and the president don't determine your outcome in life and who you're going to be. So let's take this and be able to stay focused, because like I said, as soon as Trump got in office, it was the day when I started my gallon of water a day, my 500 pull-ups. I needed sometimes you need to.
Trump made you get on me, be accountable, huh?
Sometimes you need to hear
Now
that you got diabetes for you to get your diet together.
Is 500 pull-ups a day now, Jackson? I thought it was 100.
We at 100. We still at 100.
Like this, right?
You know, but hey, you know, once Trump get into the office, you know, I might boost it up to 250. You know, we gonna see.
150%.
Yeah.
Mine basically is I'm grateful for my predominant thought process, and my predominant thought process is 80% of the time I'm thinking in this manner.
That's good.
And only I know that. I'm telling you guys that, but I feel like when you get this shift in your thought process where, man, I think like that all the time, and you know it, and that to me, means that I've worked on it. That's for sure. I've read things. I've tested things out. I've got my own personal proof, and only then did I have the ability to be okay with teaching some things, to be okay with, you know, doing my due diligence to go through some stuff, being like, okay, man, I was fucked up, and being okay licking my wounds, and then turn around and having the objective in my mind to not make somebody else go through that same challenge that I went through. So it's harder in the beginning. I understand that, but I'm so grateful for having the intestinal fortitude to continue to
The intestinal fortitude.
Okay. Yeah. And then and the second part to that, which is the most important part, is under that predominant thought, 9 times out of 10 I'm happy. Or I'm peaceful with myself. So 2016 was a point where I was alone a lot, and I was my best cheerleader or support system, and I'm grateful for that being my predominant thought. And more importantly, doing it as much as I have done, I have the ability to teach it, and that's important to myself, people who I deal with, my family, and the world.
I just figured out that intestinal fortitude means guts.
Yeah.
I try to break that down in my head, but yeah, good stuff, man. Real good
And
stuff.
testicular fortitude means nuts, for those who were thinking.
Yeah, thanks
So-
for that comparison.
So with that being said, are there any announcements that's going on, any upcoming events?
Get a chance to go on Google and type in Healthcare Solutions Team and Seth Gilmore, and that first link would be my website. And if you have any questions, concerns, definitely ask for me. Give me an email. Send me an email rather, and that is Seth Gilmore, or I'm sorry, S Gilmore, SGILMORE at myhst.com. So
The 300 group has a wine tasting coming up December 17th. So over the next week or so, check out the 300group.com for, you know, tickets for that. And then also Culture Connection 360 got a couple of events coming up, maybe around New Year's. So, you know, look at the website for that. So stay in tune. I think it was a good show. What you think, Jackson?
What's up?
Did you want to?
No, I'm good. Just look out for Fresh Air Network.
Fresh Air Network, definitely. We want to shoot out Fresh Air Network. If you're looking to get your own podcast in Chicago, this is the time and the place to do it. Fresh Air Network. Follow us on Facebook. Also follow us on the Connect 360 on Facebook if you got any questions. Next week we'll be back here at 6 o'clock talking about economics and how you can be able to capitalize on these troublesome times, because this is a great opportunity really for people. And if you want to reach me on social media, I am Dr. Jackson 360. That's Dr. Jackson 360 on all social media platforms. Make sure you get a hat, support the movement. Go to internationalpowerbrokers.com. And with that, we're going to see you, your mama, your children, and everybody. We're going to be back in the building next week. Y'all have a great week.
Peace.
Peace.